Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. Imagine making a deal with the devil, only to come back as a rotting corpse with supernatural powers. Today, we're diving into Spawn, the anti-hero who revolutionized comics and proved that sometimes the darkest stories make the biggest impact.
And what an impact it was. Spawn completely shattered expectations of what a superhero could be.
Let's start with the basics. Who exactly is Spawn?
Well, originally he was Al Simmons, a CIA operative who was betrayed and murdered during a mission in Botswana. But that was just the beginning of his story.
Wait, so how did he become Spawn?
After his death, Simmons made a deal with a demon called Malebolgia to see his wife again. But like most deals with devils, there was a cruel twist.
Of course there was. What happened?
He was sent back to Earth 5 years after his death, his body horribly disfigured, and most of his memories were gone. His wife had already moved on and married his best friend.
That's brutal. And this was in a comic book? In the 90s?
Yeah, and that's what made it so revolutionary. This wasn't your typical cape and tights story. This was dark, complex, and dealt with real psychological trauma.
You know what's fascinating? The creator, Todd McFarlane, actually came up with Spawn when he was just 16 years old.
That's right. He spent countless hours perfecting every detail of the character's design, but it wouldn't see publication until decades later.
And when it finally did come out, it was massive, right?
Absolutely massive. The first issue sold 1.7 million copies. That's superhero movie numbers in the comic world.
Let's talk about his powers. What can Spawn actually do?
Oh man, where do I start? He's got superhuman strength, speed, and durability. He can shapeshift, teleport, manipulate time.
Sounds pretty standard for a superhero, though.
Here's where it gets interesting. His powers come from necroplasm, a supernatural energy that actually depletes when he uses it. And when it runs out...
What happens?
He dies. Again. Permanently, this time. It added this incredible tension to every fight. Every power use could bring him closer to oblivion.
That's such a brilliant storytelling device.
And don't forget his living costume, Letha of the 7th House of K. It's not just a cool cape, it's a sentient symbiotic being that can form weapons and shields.
The character really changed the game for comic creators too, didn't it?
Absolutely. Spawn was one of the flagship titles that launched Image Comics, which revolutionized creator ownership in the industry.
Can you explain what that means?
Before Image, creators at major publishers didn't own their characters. McFarlane and others left Marvel to form Image, where they could keep the rights to their creations.
And that changed everything, right?
Completely. It showed that creators could be successful while owning their work. It's why Spawn has become this massive multimedia franchise.
Speaking of which, Spawn's been in movies, TV shows, video games.
Yeah, there was the 1997 film with Michael Jai White, the HBO animated series, and now there's a new movie in development with Jamie Foxx and Jeremy Renner.
Though that seems to be taking a while to get made.
McFarlane's been very particular about the project. He wants to make sure it's done right this time.
You mentioned earlier how dark the comic is. Was that unusual for the time?
It was groundbreaking. Spawn dealt with themes of suicide, corruption, child abuse, topics mainstream comics wouldn't touch.
That must have been controversial.
Oh, it was. But it also resonated with readers who wanted more complex, mature storytelling in their comics.
And the series is still going strong today, right?
It's actually become the longest-running creator-owned superhero comic in history. Over 300 issues and counting.
That's incredible for an independent comic.
And it spawned multiple spin-offs. King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn, The Scorched. The universe keeps expanding.
Let's talk about the visual design. It's pretty unique, right?
It's iconic. The flowing red cape, the chains, the skull imagery. McFarlane created something instantly recognizable.
And didn't that help launch another business venture?
Yes. McFarlane Toys started because he wanted better quality Spawn action figures. Now it's one of the leading manufacturers of high-end collectibles.
So Spawn basically helped create multiple industries.
Exactly. It showed that comics could be more than just superheroes fighting supervillains. They could be complex character studies, horror stories, social commentary.
And it paved the way for other darker superhero stories?
Absolutely. You can see Spawn's influence in lots of modern anti-hero stories.
What about representation? Spawn was one of the first major black superheroes, wasn't he?
Yes, and that was significant. Al Simmons being black wasn't just a superficial choice, it was part of who he was as a character.
And this was back in 1992.
Right. Long before the current push for diversity in comics, Spawn was ahead of its time in many ways.
Do you think that's part of why it's endured?
I think it's endured because it never compromised. It stayed true to its dark, complex nature while continuing to evolve.
And what do you think the future holds for Spawn?
Well, with the new movie potentially on the horizon and the expanding comic universe, it seems like Spawn's influence is only growing.
It's pretty amazing how a character created by a teenager in the 70s is still relevant today.
That's because great characters transcend their time. They speak to something universal.
And what do you think Spawn speaks to?
Redemption. The idea that even someone who's literally been to hell can choose to do good. That's always going to resonate.
Even if they look like a decomposing superhero with a cape made of souls?
Especially then. Sometimes the most human stories come from the least human characters.
That's deep.
Just like Spawn himself, there's always another layer to uncover.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Co-Pilot Podcasts. From deals with devils to revolutionary comics, Spawn continues to prove that sometimes the best heroes come straight from hell.